nuestros encuentros desde el Festival de Granada, hoy hablamos con el director ruso Vasily Petrenko, director musical de la Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, director titular de la European Union Youth Orchestra, director laureado de la Royal Liverpool Philharmonic Orchestra y director asociado de la Orquesta Sinfónica de Castilla y León, que esta noche debuta en el festival con un concierto dedicado a Beethoven y Bruckner. Good evening, Vasily.
Good evening.
Welcome to the Granada Festival.
Thank you very much. Good to be here, and I'm already feeling the very warm reception.
Great. You are associate conductor of the Orquesta Sinfónica de Castilla y León since 2022. Which are actually the main peculiarities of this orchestra?
It is the orchestra with whom I have a very long history of relationship. I think next year will be 20 years since my first visit with them. And I was constantly and regularly coming as a principal guest conductor in various roles. And I always loved this group of musicians. It is a very special feeling when you connected with orchestra for so many years. I also seen Auditorio Miguel de Lip in Valladolid from the moment when they started to excavate the ground until the moment when it was open. We're supposed to play the opening concert. Unfortunately, due to some royal complications, it did not happen. But I always have a lot of joy to come back to Valladolid and to be together with this orchestra. This orchestra has a very youth spirit. This orchestra has a lot of sense of discovery and also big will to work and to progress. And this is for me very important in any orchestra I'm working with.
Excellent, that's really great. And you have recently extended your contract as music director of the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra through 2030. Are there many differences between working with Russian orchestras and British ones in terms of mentality or even rehearsals?
I'd say not just with British orchestras, but with London orchestras.
Okay, yeah.
Of course, mentality, I think every orchestra in some ways reflects mentality of the place where the people live.
Sure.
And in that sense, London is hustle and bustle. It's one of the most fastest city in the world, one of the most crowded, one of the most expensive, of course. And orchestras there literally have to be extremely efficient in all rehearsals, in all the concerts. And we actually doing by far more concerts outside of London than in London.
Nice.
Because we have to go on tour just to get enough budget for the orchestra, for musicians. And we like it. It's a very unique orchestra, self-governing. So actually the power in the orchestra belongs to musician. The chairman of the committee is one of the musicians. And it's an orchestra who has a huge support to each other. It is first time in my life when I see such an orchestra where everybody is very happy to talk to each other, where you don't see any conflicts, you see only support. I think it became natural because they have to survive. Life of London musician is very, very challenging, beautiful, because you can take a lot of projects and a lot of experience, and you can see incredible amount of countries on tour. But it is also very challenging in terms of amount of work, in terms of traveling. Most of the people in orchestra cannot afford to live in the central city, so they have to travel a lot, and they have to play very versatile repertoire. We're playing everything from the very early music up till the recording of contemporary pieces, recording of computer games music, performances with pop artists, performances with composers, and of course main classical repertoire. It's a very versatile life, it is a very busy life, and it is very unique. Of course, what was in Russia the years when I've been there was quite different, and what it is in Castilla y León, the pace, and in a way they can enjoy life. They can enjoy life more on a daily basis rather than in London you enjoy work.
Workaholic, let's say.
In some ways, yes. You know, I think most of conductors are workaholics, and I'm not an exclusion.
And what did you enjoy most during your 10 years as chief conductor of the European Union Youth Orchestra?
It is a very unique orchestra, and I always it was always my passion to work with young musicians and to see how those musicians from all countries from European Union coming together, and at first they're just musicians from the European Union, and then they become an orchestra over 2 weeks. A progress which you can achieve with any youth orchestra, and especially with UYO, from the level when you started to the level of the concert, is incredible. At the end, they can play probably better than any of professional orchestras, because for almost all of them, they're playing the piece for the very first time. Even Beethoven and Bruckner, if you perform it there, 99% of the musicians will be doing it for the very first time. And as a very first love, it has a very special feelings.
And just the last question. You have been conducting in many international stages, but what's it like to conduct at the stage of the Palacio de Carlos V?
Well, first of all, very hot, I think.
Yeah, sure.
But it is, Alhambra and all this complex is an incredible heritage. Just to think what and how they did centuries ago, and how many people lived here, how many happenings were here, and how many generations of musicians, but not just musicians, just the people were coming and walking on those stones and to perform an historical monument. It gives some very special edge to the concert.
Thank you so much for your time, Spasiba.
Thank you.
Thanks
Pleasure.
a lot.
Gracias.